Guys, welcome back to the channel. I'm Office Bloke Daz.
I'm Gaynor.
Office Bloke Aidan.
Okay, I'm back on now.
Yeah.
Hey, been missing for a couple of videos, haven't I?
I know, yeah. Everyone thought you died.
No, we've got a lot of meetings going on in the office at the moment, sort of thing. So it's a lot of retraining going on and things like that. Our regular jobs.
Yep.
So a lot of meetings, a lot of people coming in for visits, and must be the season.
Yeah.
Must be the new tax year.
Yes.
Bit of a world according to Briggs.
I like these.
Same, I like this channel, mate.
Yeah.
He's like what does he say? Got it, get it, good.
Yeah.
Something like that.
That's the one, mate.
The 10 states with the most a-holes. What's an a-hole?
What does A mean?
Dunno.
What does the A stand for?
I have no idea.
Guess we'll never know.
No. Are you an a-hole?
Where's the most a-holes in the UK, would you say, or in England?
London.
London. Yeah. Unanimous. You didn't even hesitate, eh? Let's get into this. The 10 states with the most a-holes.
I asked a simple question on a survey and in the community tab of this channel. It was a straightforward question. What state has the most a-holes in your opinion? Obviously, this is an opinion. There's no statistic on assholes unless you take the word literally. I guess if you were going to add those up, the population would be a good place to start, assuming that everyone has the standard one rectum allocation. I'm sure there's some freaks out there that have two. In this video, I will show you which states people feel contain the most a-holes. Got it? Get it? Good. Let's take a look.
Illinois. Where do you think number one's going to be?
California.
Not New York.
One of the two.
Florida, man.
Maybe. I think they'll be top three.
Florida.
Just because it's like the most populous states and it's just like you hear more stories coming out of them states and all that type of stuff.
Yeah. I think California's too laid back. Everyone.
No, I feel like people like don't like them sort of like rich people from Los Angeles and all that.
Yeah.
Do you know what I mean?
Possibly. Yeah, let's see.
Number 10, Illinois. Now, this one makes sense to me. In a way, Illinois is a little bit different than the lower Midwestern states. The Midwest is known for its hospitality. The upper Midwest states, in my experience, are a little more abrasive. Illinois also ranks 9th on the list of the rudest states in the country. Philip Janik said, it's because of Chicago, which, yeah, I could totally see that. He's not the only one that felt that way. In 2023, Business Insider ranked Chicago as the 4th rudest city in the nation. Considering most of the people in Illinois live in Chicago, kind of tarnishes the whole state. 87 people voted Illinois as the state with the most a-holes.
Michigan.
Number 9, Michigan. It's too cold in Michigan not to be angry. And when it isn't cold, you're just covered in mosquitoes, so you're just angry all year. And it makes sense. Folks from the Wolverine state share the same personality traits as the Wolverine. They're very angry people. These people don't like a lot of fluff to their conversation.
Yeah, I don't know. Is that Wolverine?
I thought Wolverines were like
Like a wolf.
not real.
I don't even know what that is. Looks like a shit bear.
Looks like a massive beaver.
It
Yeah,
does.
it does. Yeah. Massive beaver. You have to clip that in.
They're very angry people. These people don't like a lot of fluff to their conversations. Now, I'd noticed this talking to people from Michigan before, and I brought it up to a guy I used to play hockey with, Tim. And I said, what's the deal with that? You guys don't like small talk, or what is it? And he said it's not the small talk. It's just the way Californians and a lot of Western states are. He said we just have a little too much drama and a little too much extra added onto our conversations. There was one study that came out that said Michigan was the 10th angriest state and the 5th when it comes to least polite, and that's according to bestlife.com. The way they got that is they...
I wouldn't have had Michigan up there at all.
No.
I'd have put Michigan. I think when you go into Detroit area, you get that big city vibe.
Yeah.
I don't think there'll be any southern states there.
No, they're all too nice.
They're all
aren't
too
they?
nice.
Too nice, yeah.
counted how many hate crimes they had, how many road rage fatalities they had, and they also went over internet comments and where they're from. Yes, you could track that down. You can't track down to their house, you can track down to their city and their state. Wesley Denny said, I visited Michigan at one point in time, and the people were rude. They couldn't stay out of your business. 98 people voted Michigan as the state with the most a-holes.
If they're basing it on all this, New York's definitely going to be number one, isn't it?
Yeah.
Yeah. No, I think about it.
Nobody has time for anybody.
Yeah, all the anger, all the built up anger up there.
Ohio.
Number 8, Ohio. That's right, the Buckeye State is not a place you want to go if you're looking for a warm welcome. Actually, in my experience, they're not that bad. I've been to Cleveland, I've been to Columbus, spent a few hours in Cincinnati one time. So I'm not a great expert on Cincinnati, but Cleveland, decent people. Columbus, wonderful people. But statistically, I should say, in surveys, people don't see it the way I do. I think it has a lot to do with kind of like Michigan. There's no fluff in their conversations. These are blue-collar people in most cases. That's how Ohio is. They're just hard-working people in general, and they don't have a lot of time for nonsense. So to people from, let's say, the West Coast or the South, that might come off as very abrasive, like you're an a-hole. There's a phrase, most people know it. In case you don't know it, it's called busting balls. Kind of when you tease your friends or stuff like that. Well, people from Ohio and New Jersey, who's on this list later on, they're kind of big on that. Audio Oddities said, having been to 37 states so far, I can say without a doubt my experience would be Ohio. Everybody there is super passive-aggressive, convinced their own importance in the country as a whole, literally crapping on every other state, and I won't even get into the level of violence they will get into if you don't like the Buckeyes. James Carrington agreed with him. Ohio got 112 votes for the most a-holes.
Nevada.
Number 7, Nevada. That's right, the Silver State shows up at lucky number 7. If you ever want to get a grasp of how, I don't know, how many a-holes are in Nevada, go look at my video about top 10 reasons not to move to Las Vegas. I did it years ago, and it's the video that kind of got this channel rolling. Read the comments. You will see more a-holes coming out of Nevada and Las Vegas in general than any other video I've ever had. Now, obviously, the entire state is not Las Vegas, but it kind of is. I mean, you got Reno and you got Laughlin, and let's not forget Pucker Brush, Nevada. Just kidding, it's got like 28 people. I'd be angry too, though, if somebody named my town Pucker Brush. Nevada, again, is one I don't agree with. I've met people in Nevada, and I mean, other than the comment section of that video, the people I've met and know personally, they've been decent. I've never really had a problem with anyone there. Was thrown out of a casino one time, I had a problem with them. But other than that, they've been pretty nice. But most people think there's a whole bunch of a-holes in Nevada, so they're on the list. Astana Lunch said, all I can say is that I hate Carson City with white hot rage. So Nevada, I guess. I think he's had a bad time in Carson City, which if you don't know where Carson City is, it is the capital of the state and it's up there by Reno. In case you don't know, Carson City is actually named after the famous frontiersman Kit Carson. I had said recently in a video that Carson City was up there by Reno, just like I did a second ago. And I had someone climb all up my butt saying, it is nowhere near Reno. You don't even know how to look at a map. 30 minutes away, dude. Come on, almost in the same metro area. If you scroll out the map on your screen to where you can see all of Nevada, it's like 3 centimeters away. 116 people voted Nevada as having the most a-holes.
Oh, I'm surprised about
I
that.
would have put Texas on there, I wouldn't have thought.
Number 6, Texas. That's right, the Lone Star State shows up at number 6. You'd think with that fancy little saying they have, y'all, they wouldn't be seen as rude, angry, or have a bunch of a-holes. But they got plenty. I was just there last October. I ran into quite a few a-holes. I even had someone look down their nose at me because the car I was driving, it was a rent-a-car first of all, and they were working at McDonald's. How does that happen? So I agree with this one just based on my experience with an arrogant McDonald's employee. Just kidding. I've run into plenty of people on both sides of the fence, a-holes and not a-holes in Texas. But apparently enough people think that there's a bunch of a-holes in Texas to get them at number 6 on this list. Gino said, easy one. Texas, of course. He's pretty confident on that one. Cleo seems to think they're called Tex-ass. And of course our friend William Blink says, it's Texas, hands down. It's genetic. So apparently their DNA is making them a bunch of a-holes. Texas got 176 votes in the a-hole Olympics.
Oh, number 5.
California.
I thought it'd be higher up.
Yeah.
Number 5, California. This one's kind of strange. In a way, I see it, but in a way, I don't. Because the people really aren't a-holes as much as they're self-centered. So is that being an a-hole? I mean, they only care about themselves. That is very much a thing in California. And what are they wearing? You know, they look down on each other for not, you know, driving the right car, wearing the right kind of clothes. That's changed a little bit over the years. Most of this goes on in the city, obviously. But when I moved up to Oregon, that was one of the first things I noticed, and even my kids noticed at the schools. Nobody cared what kind of clothes you were wearing. Nobody cared what kind of car your parents dropped you off in. In California, that was a big deal. My parents owned restaurants and a catering business when I was growing up in California, and we had all these catering vans, so I'd always get dropped off at school in a catering van. I don't know how many jokes I heard about that in my life. Funny thing is, I knew my parents probably made twice as much as most of the people at that school's parents. So I guess that type of personality and that type of way of life, they are kind of a-holes, but most of the comments left about California being a bunch of a-holes had political overtones. They kept calling it California. God, we haven't heard that one enough, have we? That's like the phrase of the month. It's like one person says it and then they just repeat it. It's almost like some of these people will get a phrase like that and they go around the internet looking for a place where they could insert it into something. Like the word bias. That got big for a while. Anything you said, it was bias. Well, it's my opinion, so yeah, it's bias. Redwood said, California, hands down. Amusement guy said, honestly, California, I live here. It didn't used to be this way. No, I think it did. It used to be a lot more affordable. Now that it's expensive, you start noticing all its flaws. That's probably what the problem is. What's funny about this whole list, whenever someone put down California, it was always like California, New York, or Texas. They'd always give me like 3. It's a toss-up. That's what they always say. California got 221 votes for the most a-holes.
Florida.
It's gonna be a
Number
New York,
4,
New Jersey.
Florida. Florida has a problem, and I think the biggest problem is they've got a lot of New Yorkers, New Jersey people, and Massachusetts people that move down there and kind of put a-hole vibe in the air, and they bring it with them. But let's not forget, there's a thing called Florida Man for a reason. They're a bunch of a-holes. And everyone in Miami has that same vibe you get in California, that snob vibe, which, again, like we just said, it's kind of an a-hole type of thing. Out of both lists, the survey I did and the one where I asked on the community tab, Florida people that voted for Florida, it was like the most boisterous out of all of them. They all had an explanation. Jack Hoffman said, Florida, and I live here. Our governor is the biggest a-hole. Well, he just said biggest, so obviously talking about a-hole. MNP says Florida, and he blames it on the transients. And I think he's talking about how the people coming down from, like I just said, Massachusetts, New Jersey, New York, are bringing their tood with them. Florida Grizzly Bear agrees. He said he had to quit going to Florida because he kept getting into fights. Florida got 5 in a row on this one. Florida got 273 votes. It's over 50 vote jump there.
New York.
Is New Jersey going to be number 1?
Yeah.
Number 3,
New
New York. Now, New York State is a lot different from New York City, but a majority of the people live in New York City, so it's going to cast a shadow over the entire state. That's how it is with every single stat, every single factor about the state of New York, other than like farming. If you've ever been to New York City, I've been there quite a few times. Yeah, I could totally see this. They earned this reputation. And this one's no one new. I'm sure as soon as you saw the title, States with the Most A-Holes, you instantly thought of New York. That's how they are. Now, years ago, I saw this guy who talks about, language and human communication and stuff like that. I had a pretty interesting video. I wish I could find it again. But he said there's a thing about New York and, which later on this list, not too far, New Jersey, they have this habit of standing too close. They talk with their arms, and of course, profanity comes off the tongue very easily for them, but it's in most cases not meant offensively. It's just what they do. Sort of like California saying dude. Our buddy Denzel over at Beyond Rails said, New York, I live here, so I can definitely vouch for that. Joseph Cheney kind of agrees with that linguist. He said, New York, maybe they don't mean it, but everyone just seems like they'd rather step on you than talk to you, which is kind of a thing. Years ago, and I mentioned this in a video before, this guy did like a psychological study, and he went to different cities in the world and acted like he collapsed on the sidewalk. And what was the response? And he went to a couple like Midwest cities, and they called an ambulance and all this, and then he went down to Miami or some Florida. People gave him water, thought maybe he passed out from the heat, and they were helping him out. He went to New York City, and people walked around him, collapsed in the middle of the sidewalk for 30 minutes before like a security guard walked up to check on him. And this was done years ago before we had homeless everywhere, and it was very common. Funny thing about that, I forget if it was Scotland or Ireland, he went to a small town there, and he collapsed on the ground. People ran out of shops. They didn't call an ambulance. They picked him up and jogged him about 400 yards to the hospital. Like 6 of these dudes were holding him over their heads and running him to the hospital.
Scotland.
New York got 567 votes.
Big jump.
New Jersey's number 1. No way.
Number 2, Massachusetts. Massachusetts should be no surprise to anyone, especially if you've ever been to Massachusetts. Boston, even more so. Again, like New Jersey.
I love Boston.
I love Boston.
I think
as
it's
well.
great, but I love
So
New York as well.
friendly, Yeah.
You know, it's one of them. Most of the places you said. I mean, I love the USA in general.
Yeah.
And I mean, maybe it's because we're like British when we go there, and it's because we're British when we're here as well. But when we go there, we're British. Before anyone says anything, when you go there and you're British, and people kind of like want to sort of like learn a little bit more about your culture, I
chat to
guess,
you.
and chatty sort of thing.
Right.
So I guess I've never really come across any rudeness. I mean, I've come across rudeness in New York, but I like it.
Yeah.
I like that arrogance.
Yeah.
I think it's like
because you feel like
suits-
it kind of is part of their
part of the
personality.
city.
Yeah.
It's a part of the culture in New
Yeah.
York. It's being an arsehole in New York is kind of like, you know, it's like you've got to be. It's,
Yeah.
otherwise, you won't survive.
No,
You know,
I remember when I went to a friend's house and her brother, I walked in the door and her brother was like, "Shut the door," and I was like, "Jesus, all right."
Shut your mouth. But it's I think Massachusetts, especially Boston, one of the best cities in the USA for me. I absolutely love it in Boston. It's a great place. We were talking about going for your 21st to different places.
Yeah.
And Boston was one of them places we were going to hit, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was.
It's on the list. So
In New York, it's kind of the way they talk to each other. It's abrasive, and outsiders or people who've never visited Massachusetts probably think these are the biggest a-holes in the world. They hold records for being a-holes, I think, someplace. There is a reason the word masshole refers to people from Massachusetts. That whole busting balls thing is big here too. Now, that, like I'd said earlier, doesn't seem like a big thing to people from the eastern seaboard, I guess you could say. But if you're from out west or maybe even the Midwest, someone starts busting balls with you, you don't know them, you're like, what is this dude's problem?
Yeah.
Best example I've ever seen of busting balls, we were on a cruise and this band was from New Jersey. After their show, they were eating food. We were sitting right next to them talking to them. Some question came up and this guy gave a wrong answer about something. I forget what it was. One of the other guys goes, "I bet 8th grade was pretty rough on you. Wasn't that your last year of schooling?" And his response was, "Yeah, well, your sister was in that class and I couldn't think about anything else." That's busting balls. And that's a mild version of it too.
That's what
So
happens
I'm
here,
sure
yeah.
some people in New Jersey right now are all busting balls. I'll show you how to bust some balls. Massachusetts got 603 votes. All right,
can't believe number one's New Jersey.
Is
I
it
know,
though?
right?
Busting, he said
Yeah.
it's going to come in the list. But busting balls is, I think that's
Just
a part
banter.
of banter. Yeah,
Yeah.
it's what we call banter, isn't it?
Yeah.
We don't
You
say
can't,
it's,
you can't take it too seriously.
No, it's if you're out there to make fun of people, which I do. I make fun of a lot of people. If people make fun of me, you've got to take it. I make fun of myself. You know, it's, if people start making fun, I join in.
Yeah.
So I can think of more. So like I know more about me to
Especially
be more
if
offensive.
like you make fun of other people, then you
Yeah, you've got
definitely
to
have to be able to take
yeah,
it.
you've got to.
exactly.
Yeah.
Otherwise, you're an a-hole.
Yeah,
Yeah.
exactly. It's all part of being banter, isn't
Yeah.
it?
before we get to number 1, don't forget we have another channel called On This Day. There's a link for that down below. All right, on to number 1.
Jersey.
It's where you're from, Aidan, New
Yep.
Jersey.
Yeah. Maybe that's why I'm an a-hole.
Number 1, New Jersey. Yep, the king of rudeness and the king of a-holes is New Jersey. I looked at several different lists by different companies like Best Life, Listverse, couple other things like that. Whenever they're talking about rude or angriest or most road rage, New Jersey is either 1, 2, or 3 on every single list. It's almost like these people pride themselves on it. You see these people in traffic and you want to stop them and ask them, is your front seat made out of cactus? What is going on with you? Who hurt you? Linda just said New Jersey. I think their rudeness is so well known, that's really all you have to say. Jonas said, out of the 42 states I've been to, definitely New Jersey has a lot or probably the most. Yeah, they have the most. This guy, I don't know how you pronounce it, but New Jersey, the only state that comes close
Oh, you'd
is
send
New
an
York,
18s.
which, yeah, on the community tab on the channel, New Jersey is the one that just showed up. All they said, no explanation. New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey, New Jersey. New Jersey got 1,042 votes.
Champions.
It wasn't even close. Shout out to New Jersey.
Wow.
Oh, brilliant.
Yeah.
Damn,
Hey,
I wasn't
New Jersey.
expecting that.
No.
Oh, I think it's a great accolade to have. If you're the top a-hole in the country,
Yeah.
magic, right?
Oh, do you think so?
Oh, I'd say if Manchester was known for being having the most a-holes up here, I'd be well proud. But I know London or Trump was by more
Yeah.
than triple.
Yeah, I agree.
Yeah, London's a magnet
Yeah.
for a-holes, isn't it?
Yeah.
It's like it breeds them
All
down there.
wannabes.
Yeah, it's a place where they're all born.
Nobody wears
And
socks either.
All a-holes are born in
To
London.
be fair, you've got
and
some in
one ever
Manchester
moves.
though, because you've got like loads of people that play for United.
Oh,
They're all
that's,
massive.
But that's not Manchester, though, is it? That's Salford.
Yeah,
Different
I live
city.
in Manchester though.
Yeah. But yeah, good that, wasn't it?
Yeah.
It's good getting the rankings of people voting in.
Yeah.
But New Jersey almost double quality. Loved it.
Yeah.
Hope you guys enjoyed that. Don't forget like and subscribe. We'll see you on the next one.
Bye.
Cheers.